Hello, this is Monica Sattler from DT Swiss. I have the pleasure and honor to talk to Justin Williams today from Legion of LA. Hello, Justin.
Hey, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, for me it's afternoon right now in Switzerland. For you it's 8:30 in the morning in LA. So my very first question is, what does cycling mean to you? So it seems like you have a very rich history, very big background. What does it mean for you? What does cycling mean to you?
Cycling to me, it just means like freedom and opportunity. I think there's like there's so much space for the sport to grow. There's so many directions it can go in, and there's so many different types of racing with on a bicycle, whether it be mountain biking or BMXing or road biking or track cycling. There's so many avenues where people can go and get some really good racing. But the general view of cycling to me is just freedom. You can get out, you can kind of like leave everything behind, let your mind run free, and then stepping into the racing side of it is just opportunity.
That's awesome. And I think that is probably also related to your history, right? To your background. You grew up
100%.
in the hoods, if I
Yeah.
quote it correctly, right? In LA. Can you tell us a little bit more on how cycling has had an impact in your life?
Yeah, no, it had a massive impact just because, when you grow up in South Central LA, there's kind of this weird atmosphere where you feel like you're being pushed in a direction, and the direction isn't always positive. So having cycling and being pushed into cycling and getting to travel the country, and then from there getting to travel the world, it changes your lifestyle and that changes your perspective, because the people that you're around are doing all these incredible things. And that's cycling for me. That's the biggest thing that it's done. It's introduced me to a lot of people that have changed my way of thinking. And I think that's the biggest thing that cycling has to offer outside of being a professional.
Yes, yeah. So how did you get into cycling? Like, did someone just give you a bike and say, "Hey, Justin, just jump on it and you will love it," or how did you get into it?
Oh no, it's one of the best memories I can remember having as a little kid. I was in elementary school, and I remember getting out on like a Friday and seeing my parents, and they had a brand new like 5-speed mountain bike on the back of the car, and it was my bike, and for some reason they just connected that it was my bike. So like bikes have been I think everyone at some point learns how to ride a bike, right? It's like one of the things that you remember about being a kid.
Yeah.
My dad always rode. I'd never really connected like what he was actually doing. I thought it was a hobby. It's something that he just did for fun. And I never thought it was a sport. I didn't know there was a UCI Pro Tour. I didn't know any of that until I got a little bit older and I played basketball and I wanted to play football and do all these things. And when those didn't work out the way that I wanted them to, I looked at the bike and I said, oh, maybe I'll just give this a chance, right? And I got into it. And when I started riding, it was this massive battle with my dad to let me ride, because he just didn't think it was the path for me, or I don't know exactly where his thinking was, but I wanted to ride because I wanted to compete. I was always a competitor. I wanted to find this common ground with my dad and figure out how I could like spend more time with him. And it pulled me to the bike. And from there, I learned so much about my history and my family's history within cycling. Coming from a small country, we're from Belize. In Belize, there's this cycling is massive. I think the two biggest sports is like soccer, football, and soccer, the Euro, you guys call it football, and cycling. So my dad got into cycling. I kind of followed in his footsteps. I was lucky enough to be introduced to this team called Major Motion, which was a junior development team who's developed some of the most amazing black cyclists to date right now, like Rassam Bahati. There's another guy, Ali, who won the junior road national championships. Alex Garcia was another kid. He was a Mexican kid. Corin Rivera was on my team. So it was this like amazing collage of kids that got together, and like I think having that and only having each other because we weren't very well funded. It was all about fun. It was all about being competitive. It was all about being positive. And yeah, that's how I got into this. But that's how I was pulled into the sport.
That's amazing. And you've been successful right from the start, right?
Well, I think so. In my head, when I was younger, it
Mm,
wasn't as fast, right? Because I got in,
yeah.
and I remember my dad took me to this group ride we did on Thursdays, and Alex, the little kid, Alex was maybe 80 pounds and
Yeah.
and maybe like 4 feet tall,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was. And he was on the smallest bike, and he was sitting in his bike, and I would watch him finish this group ride. So
Mm,
in my head, I was like, "Oh, this will be easy." And it took me like a year to finish this group ride. I just like
mm,
couldn't get it done. So it took me a year of riding that group ride to get it done, and maybe took me another year and a half to win my first race.
mm.
But once I won my first
Wow.
race, the rest was history.
Amazing. So, but I can hear out of it that winning is not everything for you. There's so much more to
No.
cycling, right?
I think there's a lot more to being an athlete.
Mm,
I always
mm,
grew up idolizing people that I thought always did more than just whatever their sport was. This goes beyond cycling. It's like looking up to basketball players like LeBron James and his like I Promise school. All of that stuff is what I think being an athlete is a complete picture. And it's
mm,
always what I imagined when I wanted to go pro. When I thought of myself being a professional, it's about influencing people to better themselves. It's about giving to sharing opportunities when you can, and that's why we work with Specialized to give out bikes when we win USA
yeah,
Crit Series races.
yeah,
It's about all of those things combined, and then the winning legitimizes it, right? The winning is the like. I'm practicing what I'm preaching, right? I'm doing the training, and I'm performing. I'm learning all of the stuff outside of the training that matters for winning. So yeah, it's a lot more. We focus a lot on social media,
mm,
and we don't have a social media team. It's something that comes pretty
mm,
naturally to us, and we had
yeah,
to learn.
yeah,
But it's extremely important at this day and age. What my little brother does with his videos and YouTube. We originally started recording videos to kind of practice our mistakes and see where we could be better. And from there, he just got into editing, and that took off. And now he makes these amazing race compilations. But yeah, we just feel like there's more than putting your hands up and celebrating and saying I won and going on. Like you have to be accessible, you have to give back.
mm,
And winning is fun and it's important, but it's not the only thing. It's
yeah,
just a part of the puzzle.
yeah. And Justin, you're just not only an athlete, you're also a general manager of a very successful team,
Yeah.
right? Legion of LA. How did it come
Yeah.
about that you created your own team?
Oh, it's just years of frustration, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I've raced for amazing
Mm,
teams, and I've had amazing teammates, and I've even had good managers. But for the most part, all of the systems were the same. It was the system in America that prepares you to go to Europe, and if you don't want to go to Europe, well, there's nothing really there for you, or
mm,
the
mm,
pickings are slim, as they
yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
Um, so it was just one of those things where I understand the marketing dollars that flow through the US, and I understand that if you
Mm,
produce a product that people can get behind and they are willing to invest in, then they'll invest in it, right? And that's what we build. We build basically a marketing firm that markets products through cycling.
yes.
So yeah.